Hello, everybody. It is so good to see you. I am sitting here making stuffed animals for my grandson. And I just thought I would tell you, which makes me feel better. We did a Google Hangout together yesterday, so I got to actually see him and talk to him. And they've decided, with an abundance of caution, to postpone his birthday. So maybe I'll get to go to it no matter what. But they had like 30 people coming because Nikki has a very big and close family and family friends. So, but anyway, I'm glad to be here. Mark and I are all stocked up and settled in for the long haul. And he keeps saying he's not going to, but I want to play some board games while we're, kind of locked in. So let's cross our fingers that maybe he will kind of soften up and play a board game or two. One of my favorites was my girl's favorite game in the 1980s, and it was Mall Madness. It was the first ever electronic game. So it had a button when you put the card in and it would say, "Ooh, long lines, try again later." I don't know if any of you remember your kids playing that, but I love it. And the purpose is to see who can spend their money the fastest and still have at least $1 and then get back out of the mall first. So but my kids loved it so much and I miss them, so it's fun for me to play it. Well, it is so good to see you. And I was spoiled today. Mark made me eggs Benedict. And I found I'm not a fan, but he did a beautiful job making it. I just don't like soggy bread. And, you put sauce on bread, the muffins. I'm not used to it. But I told him he did a wonderful job. His poached eggs were beautiful. So I was really, really pleased. So anyway, there's Lisa Capon. She is Miss Printer Extraordinaire. If you haven't been to her site, and I'm sure you have because she's got a very popular site, but you've got to go to her site for this past printing. She did printed blocks and made an entire quilt out of it. Really pretty. And what I loved, she did 2-color printing. And boy, when she put the yellow or gold on, it just made the design pop. But there's something I know that there's a channel that has just pleasant sounds that relaxes you. There's something very relaxing watching her do this printing. And it amazes me because when she starts to put the ink on, she lifts the frame up and does like 2 passes, then drops it down and then finishes the passes. And I was going to ask you, Lisa, does the ink start to ooze through the openings in your stencil? Or do you do that so you have a nice solid color? Because your color on your printing is really nice and even and consistent. So we'll just start off the day talking about Miss Lisa because I love watching her. It was just relaxing. I noticed my breathing slowed down. And so keep making those videos where you actually show the printing. I mean, it's just, she was printing out quite a few blocks, but she does the same thing every time. And the way she lifts it up, ink, puts it down, ink, lifts it up, peels the fabric off, puts a new sheet from the catalog or whatever. I love how she recycles those sheets. Puts it on, puts the next fabric block, puts it down, lifts it up, does the ink. Lisa, am I describing it accurately, hon? It's called flooding the screen. Excellent. So wouldn't it be really cool if one day, no time soon, we've got to stay home and take care of it, but wouldn't you love it if one day I went to Miss Lisa's house and she showed me how to screen print? Would that be awesome? Nothing like inviting yourself to someone's house, huh? But I was fascinated by it. Absolutely fascinated. So good job, Miss Lisa. Good job. And oh, Bonnie has been spreading her love. Isn't she something? You're just so sweet, Miss Bonnie. Can we all tell Miss Bonnie how much we love her? She was our initial, when I first started doing live streams and the camera and I didn't have fast enough internet speed. And so it was miserable. But she kept me going. It was like she showed up every Sunday, encouraging me, kind of reminding me when I got off track. And we love our Miss Bonnie. She has been the predominant giver of all the gift things I've sent out. I mean, and she still is. One of the fabrics that she gave me with the shells will be going out to the landscape people. So Bonnie does nice things even when she doesn't have to. She does nice things when you least expect it. All of a sudden, something will appear. She's one of those people that you don't meet often in life, but when you do, they're just a treasure. So thank you, Miss Bonnie. So I'm so glad to see everyone. I went back and looked at my Thursday live stream for the art quilts and landscape quilts. And I was very happy the information I gave you about the coronavirus, the COVID-19. I was very happy with it. So if anybody, because I had listened to 2 scientists that day, and I was really trying to learn. They now say dogs are immune to it. So you can pet and kiss your dogs off. Now, I'm not saying they don't go out in the yard and get chicken doo-doo, but anyway. But if any of you are at all confused or concerned, please go to my Thursday night live landscape, and it's the first few minutes I talk about it because I care so much about all of you, and I want you safe. And everybody now realizes some people were late to the game. Everyone now realizes this is serious stuff. 1,400 people have been killed in Italy by this. Don't take chances. Please don't take chances. So, chicken doo-doo makes you stronger. You know what? You have dogs, so you know. They go, whoa, hors d'oeuvres. We had a little scare yesterday. The neighbors came up, and their neighbors across the way, we really like them, dear people. And they said they just got a husky that was given to them because she kills chickens. And the husky got loose, and they can't catch her. She won't come to them. So guess where the husky was? Yes, trying to figure out how to get into my yard, into my chickens. They must be able to smell it from who knows how far away. So Mark's going to go out and double check, make sure, hopefully they caught that dog. I was so grateful they told us because, you know, we have some 2x4 mesh fencing that if a husky wanted to get in and eat chickens, it would go right through it. So anyway. But yeah, I can never have a husky or any kind of, the only time I've ever had my chickens, and I had ducks at the time too, only time I've ever had them attacked was when a husky got into the yard. And it just ripped into that cage. So anyway, I love huskies. I love the way they talk. They're very vocal, but I'm sorry, their prey drive is way too high. So anyway, somebody else will have to love all the huskies in the world. All right. So we've got a lot of fun things today. And let me turn up my fan. You know, the one thing about the weather getting a little warmer is my hot flashes come back so much easier. So we won't go back is a bumper sticker supporting Planned Parenthood. I am old enough to remember when legal women's health care came in to finally became law. I was raised with the terrible stories of backstreet happenings. So I just wanted to, that's just my personal opinion. And, but you can never deny health care to women because men aren't denied health care for anything. So that's just my personal opinion, So anyway, you have a little dog that's a runner. Well, I've always loved Salukis and what's the other? Whippets. They'll climb fences. Climb a fence. They are so smart and so agile. Like, no, can't have those either. Hello, Kathy Mitchell. Hello. Yes, we do take care of the world. And, some of us know what we can handle and what we can't. And some of us have that taken away from us by maybe being attacked. And so we need our options for our health care. So anyway, but isn't it great seeing Akko here? Linda Price, hello. Nadine is here. Nana by the Gulf is here. Hi, sweetie. Look at all these people. I am thrilled. Thank you. So anyway, but it's time for the women to call the shots in this country. So we certainly couldn't do any worse. And that's all I'll say about that. I'm going to get myself in trouble today. But I want everybody to stay. Hi, Pat Fry. I want everybody to stay healthy and happy and all that good stuff. So I'm going to show you. I've got a couple things. And today, I'm going to show you what I'm making for Russell for his birthday. I've got to get them done by tomorrow so I can get them in the mail because his birthday is Friday, I think. And did I ever tell you he was born on my father's birthday? And of course, my father had passed, but it's nice. It's kind of nice to remember. So I'll show you the progress on my mandala quilt. I'm not going to my retreat, nor am I going to go see my grandson. We're hunkered down now. We're not going to have contact with anybody. In fact, the mail I'm going to do, I'll probably be leaving at the mailbox. So it's nice to be able to do that now. So I'm not taking any chances. Oh, I've got great news for you. Mark's boss, because Mark had kind of kept asking, hey, what is the plan for work? What is the plan for work? And the good news is they did something about it. So he brought home his work computer and he was able to get into the company, get the access he needs to work from home. Bonnie, yes, she sent me some. I know. Is it the floss winding, Bonnie, or is there something new? So I haven't even opened my email yet today. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm getting ready for all my undersea participants. And I went to see Emma Friday. I went at 1:00 when nobody is there. I took antibacterial wipes and wiped down the seat everywhere my hand touched. And so I went at 1:00, saw Emma, and then said goodbye to the movie theater for at least a month. So let me see. There were only two other elderly ladies, a couple rows up. So I was like, good. And you know what? My daughter told me something she saw. And that was, if you have a special restaurant you really like, but you're afraid to go right now, or maybe a movie theater that you like, she said, people are saying, if you were to buy a gift certificate from them, and that way you can use it once this crisis is over. And that way they're getting some money, but you're not putting yourself at risk. I thought that was such a sweet idea. So I've got a couple of those restaurants, and the movie theater might be nice to just buy a ticket that I'll end up using. So, but only if you have the money. Don't do it if you're tight on money or if you're worried about not getting paid for your time off. But I'm so excited because Mark's going to work from home. Because I told him everything that I have done, worked so hard to try to, giving up my retreat, giving up going to see my grandson, that would all be canceled out if he's still going to work. The building he works in has 5 or 6 floors, 5 floors, and it's 3 different companies. And it's one of those buildings that it's called sick building syndrome, I think. I mean, they haven't come out and said it, but everybody gets sick. There's something with the heating plant or something, or the age of the building. And I said, if you go into work, then that just undercuts all I'm doing. So I was so excited when they told him, and he may have to go in tomorrow just to get the last minute consultation and pick up this thing that connects his laptop. We have 2 big monitors that he'll set up so he can do his job. But anyway, I'm very, very happy. And remember, the reason that we're doing the social distancing is because we only have 925 hospital beds in this entire country. We have over 300 million people. Do the math. We are woefully unprepared to handle the volumes. And do remember, this is a serious illness. 80% of young, healthy people will be fine. The other 20% have complications that can last their entire life. They said diminished lung capacity is a very real side effect of this virus. I personally know that. In 1995, I had double pneumonia. I had 105 fever. I was in the hospital for an entire week, which I don't even remember because my oxygen level was so low. I went to my doctor and told him I felt like I was dying. He sent me to get a prescription. It was for Xanax. I told him I was dying and he's going to give me Xanax. When I came back to him, I said, look, you gave me this, but this is not what's wrong. And he all of a sudden, saw that I had an extremely high fever, sent me to the emergency room where I promptly passed out because I didn't have enough oxygen. So I think at one point I heard my oxygen level was down to 50-some%. I don't know, but if it gets below 90%, you're in trouble. So anyway, I know what it's like to have pneumonia. And I don't want any of you to get it. And it does scar your lungs and makes you very susceptible. So I will get off my little soapbox today so we can talk about fun things. But please, please understand. Yeah, it breaks your heart. Please understand. It's a real bear. We're not used to people telling us we can't go around, move around and everything. But it's the only way that we can slow the curve. If we get a huge spike, we would be in the shape that Italy is when they say, oh, sorry, we'll keep this person here because they have a better chance of surviving. That person, they don't have as good a chance. They got to go home. That sounds horrible, but that's what they're having to do. They're having to ration medical care. And that makes these humans have to make horrible decisions. Now, the good news, okay, you ready for some good news? We all need good news. Go on YouTube, go online and type in people in their homes in Italy applauding doctors and people in Italy singing to each other. You know, the thing about humans is sometimes when the times get hard, humans get so dear, so wonderful. And in Italy, they have all these people and, because their towns are close to, the buildings and apartments are close together. And they opened their windows and they brought their musical instruments or they just sang. And they all sang together. They sang to each other. Oh, my God. I mean, I was tearing up. It was beautiful. And then evidently, I don't know if the doctors came through their neighborhood or what, but they all started applauding. You could hear all these apartments had their windows flung open and everyone was applauding. So remember that. Remember that. And, we're a pretty wonderful, kind, caring nation too. And we'll do the same thing. We'll come through this also. So, and just remember that, yes, we have to be careful, but it's for a good reason. And I personally am at a high risk. I am almost 64, have asthma and diabetes. And because my asthma and I had pneumonia before, if I get an upper respiratory, it goes right into bronchitis or pneumonia for me. So I'm taking it easy. I'm taking it serious. I got a bunch of fruit and I got canned fruit. So when the fresh fruit runs out, I've got canned fruit. I'm eating well. I'm sleeping. I purposely try to sleep an hour more each day. You can do the same thing. And if we all just buckle down like this, you know what? I just saw we could send Nashville a quilt or prayer shawl. What a great idea. And you know what? Maybe during this time that we're kind of sequestered into our home, it's a wonderful time. I could crochet up some prayer shawls, and just give it to maybe somebody you care about, or, cheer somebody up. So it's going to be fine. I promise. But the big program I'm doing today is I heard that Tiffany was doing some hand sewing, and it made me think, hey, let's have a hand sewing Sunday. Well, of course, I have a book on that. My Miss Jenny wrote an amazing book on hand quilting where she covers it from the very beginning to the very end. So, and she does all of her quilts by hand. Even her 4,000 plus piece Windows quilt, all by hand. Quilting and everything. So, I've got everything set up to do a tutorial for hand sewing. Because, boy, when you learn how to do it, it's a piece of cake. And I have watched Jenny Beyer, because she taught me. I actually went to one of her classes on hand sewing. She can hand sew almost as quickly as you can machine sew. I saw it myself. So anyway, how is everybody? I know I was really sad. Miss Jenny Beyer's husband died in the middle of January, and I'm really sad for her. What a dear couple. What a dear couple. So, how is Nadine doing? I didn't know. I know that Angela Merkel the other day said that she's worried that half of her dear country could come down with it. Are you well, Miss Nadine? And that's another thing to remember. We're one big world. We're not separate countries anymore. We're one big world. And you know what? It's wonderful that we are, because it's that much more help, that much more support, that much more camaraderie. It's a wonderful thing. So we have to reach out and stay close to everyone. Also, do me a favor. Oh, I saw a name that I saw the other week. It was Judy. Hi, Judy. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. So if you see Adele come in here today, please let me know. Because something she said, she's grieving, and I wanted to reach out to her. So if you see Adele, let me know. I'm glad Tiffany's taking it easy and relaxing. So now what I'm going to do is show you thank you, Susan, I love you. Thank you for everything you do. And I'll go ahead and tell you right in front of everybody, but when y'all were talking about handwork, crocheting, cross stitch, I sent a little gift certificate to Susan because she works so hard each week, and it helps me so much. Her and Diana, they're just wonderful. Anyway, when I told Mark about it, I forgot to tell him at the time, and I told him a couple of days later. He said, you should have spent more than that. All she does. So Miss Susan, soon as I can, I'll probably get you another one. But I was like, whoa. He said, that was too cheap. You should have spent more. So, honey, he knows how I couldn't do it without you, honey. I know you wanted to keep it quiet, because I have to take turns when some of you get a little special thought from me. So, oh, and Diane 57. Oh, you're a dear heart too. I'll show you in just a few minutes what envelopes I have out for everybody, because I'm not as good at Elfkin as Miss Bonnie, but I do love my times that I can be an Elfkin. Okay, but I'll have to be her assistant. She is always the queen. Let me bring my camera over here. And Nadine, what she's saying is that she dearly loves him and depends on him. Oh my gosh, Boomerang, is he here? Or did you just remember? Susan doesn't forget a thing. Mom, like a steel trap. All right, let me come down here. But I've been meaning to write Susan, so I thought, well, I'll just tell her while we're all here. But anyway, Miss Bonnie gave me the idea by the way she was talking about it. Did he slip in? Oh, you know what? Oh, isn't he a sweetheart for saying that, Susan? I've got a good man, and you know I'm going to hold on to him. Even though with him working at home, it'll be interesting. I told him this morning, I said, I'm used to being the boss in the house during the daytime. He said, well, you'll have to get used. You'll have to change that, won't you? I said, we'll have to negotiate. So anyway, so what I'm doing is this is a cute little lion. A little lion. It was a panel. And Stacy Hugh, I think, did this one. I already cut it up. Darn it. Let me see. I'm not sure if I have her name, but I think it's Stacy HZU. And here we go. Thank God for salvages. This is Safari Life by Stacy. And I would assume that's Zoo for her last name, Moda. And it came with a giraffe, a zebra, a lion, and an elephant. Well, I can't do anything to just plain. So I got this eyelash yarn, and I am now doing a small zigzag and zigzagging it down before I sew the little fellow together. So you see how I do this? And I just have an open toe foot. Well, it's not really an open toe foot. I'm not sure what you would call it, but it does have an opening. And I can see easily through it, so it makes it easy. And I'm just going back and forth and zigzagging it down, making sure I get it zigzagged down. You don't want any places for little fingers to get in and get hurt. So let's see. So then I get ready and I just hold it. It's this easy. It truly is this easy. Now I just hold it back down here, zigzag it back this way, and I'll keep doing it. And then I thought, okay, I had already started sewing it together down this side. I thought, do I have to do it back here too? I'll have to decide if I want to do that much of this, because, it does take time. It's finicky work. But I'll just finish this last bit. I'll cut the thread so I can hold it up and show you. Okay. All right. So what do you think? Don't you think that's going to be a cute addition? Oh, I am so sorry you've been... Oh, let me tell you what. Your blood sugar goes up when you're nervous, when you're stressed, when you're sick. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, you know what we have to do? And I've been thinking about it and talking about it. The main thing is know what you have to do to stay safe. And then... my daughter and I were talking about it. We're treating this downtime as an intimate little party. We are going to have fun Mark and I told him I will make him his favorite meals. And today he made me the, what is it called again? Eggs Benedict. And we're just going to do special little things like that. I have gotten some great books that I'll have time to read. So what we're doing is we've done everything we can do now. And we're going to make it into a party. Pretend that you've gotten snowed in the winter and you just hunker down. So if that will help you, please know that my son and his wife and Russell did a Google Hangout with me because they're hunkered down. We're hunkered down. It was fun. So I kind of feel like I'm looking at it as a little vacation, a little mini stay-at-home staycation. There you go. So, and plan some good things for yourself. Plan some good things to take care of you, because remember I said that's the most important thing, is to keep your health up, which for us diabetics means lower the stress, keep that blood sugar intact in a good level, and then look, what things have you been wanting to do but life has gotten just too busy lately for you to do, and do them, and know that, yeah, we're having to give up a little freedom right now, but it's going to be so much better in the long run. And this too shall pass. They've already shown, okay, let me tell you this part too. South Korea, the problem is going down now. They're over the worst. China, over the worst. They're going back to work. So Italy will reach that point soon. And if we do this, we'll be over the worst and a lot smarter for the future. So here we go. What do you think? Isn't that cute? I'm not sure I'm going to do it on the back. I mean, I love my grandchild, but I think the front will be enough. So let me show you the two other animals I did for him. I got those done last night. He really is. Mark can be a curmudgeon, but oh my God, he's so steady, and he's just a good man. You know what that means? You know. But anyway, here is a little zebra, and I have saved some of the squeakers I've cut out of my dog toys. And listen, isn't that cute? So he'll be able to squeeze it. So, and then this one's my favorite. And I added tusk to the pattern because it didn't have any tusk. And I thought, he has to have tusk. So, and okay, let me tell you some things I did. I did extras like sewing across the ears, but to give them a little firmness. I also put batting in the ears to give them a little firmness. You notice I put eyes on. Now, let me tell you what I did. Buttons can be dangerous for babies, and I knew that. What I did is I used quilting thread, which is really tough and strong, and I put a flat button on the inside and this button with the shank on the outside, so it can't pull through the fabric, because I've seen how they do that on toys. And then look at all of the stitching. I did tons and tons and tons of stitching. Oh, is Tiffany leaving us? Watch it later, honey, because I'll do the hand sewing. But anyway, okay. So I put the button on, but I did a flat button on the inside. I used extremely heavy stitching to get that thing. Same thing with the elephants. I did a flat button on the inside. So here we go. I just think it's just cute as it can be. And let me see. There we go. He has a squeaker too. So I think Stacy Zoo did a cute job. And I hope I'm not saying her name wrong, but I think she did a really cute job on these. So, all right. So that's the one thing. And then I'll get the lion done, and that will be good. I'll quickly show you this. I'll get my magic. Oh, oh. I know why he snuck down my boiling water. Let me show you this. Okay, thank you, Susan. All right. Now, what I do, this is all for the hand sewing tutorial. This is my very favorite thimble in the world. Let me tell you why. And is it Dritz or Collins? It's Collins. You can get them Joann's, you can find them online, but it's a Collins adjustable thimble, and here it is. It's a plastic thimble with a separation here, and it has a needle stop there, very important. See the dimples? It's good because you can have fingernails and wear it. Now, what Mark did is he brought me down some boiling water, and I dropped this in the boiling water and set it aside for 30 seconds. And oh my gosh, best thimble they ever made. When you drop it in the water for 30 seconds, okay, I'm going to then take it out of the water with hemostats so that I don't burn myself. And then as soon as I can get it on the tip of my finger, it's not too hot, it won't burn my finger, I'll put it on my finger and leave it on until it's totally cooled off. It then forms to your finger. And when you have arthritis like I do, and sometimes I have fingernails. Lately, my fingernails keep breaking or splitting, but anyway. But let me see if it's almost been 30 seconds. But you take the cup of water out of the microwave, and then you put this in for 30 seconds. Where is it? I might have to pull it over here closer to, yes, there it is. All right. Dip the excess water out. Yep, I can put my finger in. Okay, and you push it all the way on, firmly on. Then let it just sit for a bit. Okay, let it sit until it cools off. This thing, and you know, from time to time it feels tight, or maybe my arthritis gets worse and I have to do it again. But the neatest thing is I've gone into the shower and started washing my hair with my thimble on. I forget it's on because it's so comfortable. So now I'll put this out of the way. Let me get this back. Okay. I just wanted to show you that I have gotten some progress done on, whoops, now I got to move the camera. Hold on. I've gotten some progress done on my mandala quilt. There we go. And I'm very, very happy with it. Now, it's a little bold, it's a little bright, but the fabric, I'm going to use the floral with the white background to do my bigger border around the edge. But I'm very, very, very happy with this. So I'm very happy that I was given that gift certificate and was able to get such beautiful fabric. And I think that by focusing on the fabric in the large blocks, it really does it justice, you know? All right, so now that part's done. I'm going to get ready and do a tutorial for you in just a moment. I tell you what I'll do right now. Before I do the hand tutorial, and don't forget we have photos, I'll get ready and show you. I'll try to show them a little bit earlier. Maybe I'll do the hand quilting demonstration last. But I wanted to show you that I got my return address labels, my stamps, and envelopes. And what I'm going to do, oops, I was doing them upside down. Oh, well, you'll know it's from me then, they're upside down. But what I've been doing is I already started cutting out the fabrics. So you'll get a little piece of the dots. You'll get a little piece of the turtles. I'm hoping. I don't have enough turtles for too many people, but I didn't have that much fabric. You'll get a piece with a couple fish in it. Let me see. And here's some smaller fish. And Thursday night, tune in because I think I've figured out how to do bubbles on the fabric. These are already links of the eyelash yarn that I've cut, links of this color eyelash yarn. I've got links of this. This is just to remind you that I'm going to get a couple shades of my Angelina and put some in there for you. Here are already cut links of that yarn, this yarn, this yarn, this delicate yarn, this eyelash, this cool yarn, some little bit of glitter yarn. They're already cut. This eyelash, and this chenille. So, and I still have more fishes to cut out, more shells, some seahorses. I've got to keep this neat because they're already cut and they're in piles. So I grab one, put it in the envelope, move to the next one, put it in the envelope. But remember, you have to have proof that you really have started the undersea landscape. I don't want you just to collect. I want you to be doing it. And you don't have to ask for any of this, but I thought you might want to. So I wanted to show you that I'm being very serious. And I'll make sure if I've ever sent you something before, I have your address. But if you're a new person, I'll need to get your name and address. And you know where to send that. You send that to Our Time to Quilt at twc.com. So that's good. Boy, I'm moving along quickly today. I've already shown you the stuffed animals I'm making for Russell, the mandala quilt, how far I've gotten on it. I've shown you all the samples of yarns and stuff. And don't forget, I still have a basket of fabric because I want to cut, variety of things for you. I told you I saw Emma, but I wiped the seats down and went when there was nobody there. But you know what? I've now read that the virus lasts 72 hours on any surface. So I won't be going back until a few weeks have passed. Mark's going to be working from home. I guess we'll go to look at photos. Then hopefully Nadine is still here. She gets to see photos too. And is there anything that I am... Yeah, we're the grocery store that we have that is our favorite. Going to close down every night at 9 so they can clean the store and restock it. I'm so glad that everybody's trying to pitch in. It's a good country. Everybody's pitching in. So, okay, let's go look at photos and then I'll show you how Jenny Beyer taught me to hand sew. All right, here we go. Let me turn off the light. I'll be right back. Turn off the light. Close this curtain. Okay, oh, and I also have a quilt to show you up close. Holly had asked to see. Okay. Oops. My amazing seat cushion, given to me by an elfkin, fell off my chair. I love Miss Bonnie so much, I sit on that seat cushion every day. Hold on just a second. Let me get to the pictures. All right, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry you can't stay, Kathleen Ziegler. It was so nice to see you, sweetheart. That is so good to see you. Okay. Take good care of yourself, and we're going to have fun. I've even suggested that if people start getting cabin fever, then hey, we'll crank this up more often. And, I don't have to show you all kinds of things. We could just sit and sew together and chat. So, okay. Miss Akko's been busy. Let's see. And in fact, I need to ask her, how's it going working on this? Come on. My computer is a wee bit slow, but it'll get there. There we go. Miss Akko is working on this, and I'm hoping it's not too difficult for her. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I love it. She loves natural fabric or natural yarns, which are so comfortable. I'm allergic to acrylic and all that stuff. Makes me itch. So I love when I see people using natural yarns if they can. All right. I mean, you know what? You use what you got and what you can afford and what your skin doesn't get upset with. This is her postcard. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. I put this in the wrong one. This is Nadine's postcard from Bonnie. So that is so sweet. Okay. I got a little confused there. So sorry, sweetie. All right, now let's go to, these are bees again. Love them. While I'm here, I'll show you this one again because it is just unbelievable. So we're so tickled to have Miss B in our group. Let's see. Now, I need to also check. Bonnie sent pictures, so I need to check that. But I wanted to show you what Miss Bonnie's been busy doing. She's going to be moving before too long, and so she's getting all of her stuff organized. Look at the wonderful, wonderful floss that she has. DMC floss. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Every color. So organized. And you know what? That's important because you have to have your stuff organized and neatly taken care of so you can be creative. Because have you ever wanted to work on something for just a little bit and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know where it is, or, it's tangled or whatever. This is wonderful. So thank you, Miss Bonnie. And I will, after I show these photos, I will check and see if there are others she sent. I don't think, I'll just show this again. I just absolutely love the Tampa Airport sculpture. I mean, how cool to be able to walk past this. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Really, really awesome. I just think that sculptor is such an amazing wizard. Oh my gosh. I would just love to see that. Almost worth a drive down, huh? Almost, boy. Okay, let's see what Diana writes. She has been very busy, but surprise, surprise, she is an amazing, talented, hard-working lady. No moss grows on her. And this is, I think, the farmer's wife. A few of y'all are working on this. And I think it's amazing. Great job. I love seeing colors. To me, her colors reflect the colors she sees in Texas. And I think that's awesome. Okay. I hope you won't mind if I show this. Miss Diana, I guess I should have asked you sooner. I found these when I was going through some emails, and this is her John Wayne quilt. That is so gorgeous. Love it. In fact, I better go back to y'all and see if it's okay. Miss Diana, is it okay if I show those, sweetheart? It's okay. Good. Thank you. I'm sorry. I should have checked even first. Let's go back because her John Wayne quilt is so beautiful. And I'm quite a fan of the old John Wayne myself. But the color she used, it looks like it's like buckskin, like leather, tanned leather. It's absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I read that Katharine Hepburn, who was in one of his last movies with him, Rooster Cogburn, and she said it was like hugging an oak tree. She absolutely loved it. So, isn't this beautiful? Miss Diana is very, very talented. And she made this for Marty, which I just loved. And then a couple pillows. Isn't that wonderful? Then here we go with her elephant quilt, which she already got quilted. This girl, we know she doesn't sleep. I'm not sure. Or it's like Disney where she has the little mice that come in during the night. And I found these too. These were things she made like to put burritos in the microwave and bowls so your hands don't get burnt when you handle them. Love it. It's great idea for scraps. Now, look who's doing a Rubik's Cube. And guess what? She's doing a beautiful job. I told her, do you know how many women in the class got it all mixed up? And she's sharp as a tack. See, I was going to tell her too, the teacher recommended pressing all the seams open because there's so many seams. But I hate pressing seams open, so I didn't. But it almost looks like that's what she's doing, at least on her main ones. And that makes sense because it makes it much easier to quilt later on. Now, she went to Oklahoma to a quilt store. And isn't that gorgeous? I tell you what, it's so much fun going in a new quilt store. It looks like she came home with a bunch of empty bolts. I know they were happy that she took them. And then bunches of patterns. I would have loved to have been there with her. Oh my gosh. One day, if we can ever teleport or whatever, I'll be ready to sign up. Here is some of her cash that she bought when she was there. CACHE, when you get a big score. And I noticed most of her stuff is patterns and ideas. So that's really awesome. She's looking for new ways to be inspired. And nothing inspires you more than a pattern and ideas. She did pretty good. I'm tickled for her because, I don't often see her go out and buy something special for herself. So I'm thrilled. And I'm hoping that this is her cutting board that she bought. I'm not sure. But I love those Quilter Select cutting boards. And then she has, I think she's finished quilting or working on it now, her Tree of Life quilt. Look at her exquisite work. She's a very, very talented quilter. Immaculate, just immaculate. Oh, I'm impressed, hon. All right, that couldn't be it, could it? Let me see. Yeah, that was it. Oh, darn. It was fun. I love looking. Diana is so prolific. We always have wonderful things to see from her. Then with Jody, I showed you again her final version of the hummingbird quilt. So creative. Then she's participating in the undersea, and there is her turtle. And there are both sea turtles. I can't wait to see if she got a new background fabric. She went looking for it. Then look at her. Miss Jody said that she would pay the shipping if I sent her my big bag of scraps. Well, then she sent the container and shows how that she has organized her scraps. And that's beyond a Deb's capability. Let me tell you, one day when I grow up, I would love to think that this is how organized I am. But way to go, Jody. Way to go. And they say if you do it, like you've cut up all the fabrics you need for a quilt. And they say if you just do it right then, it's really not that bad. But I never seem to manage. And then look at this scrappy basket quilt. How cool. It just the unique shape. It's amazing. I love it. Way to go, Jody. And you know what? It is nice to have all those variable fabrics. So good job, hon. Okay, well, let's see who else. Let's go down to Miss Nadine. And here is her, I think she said it's Where's the Cherry quilt? And her beautiful quilting. Look at this. I tell you what, it's like she's absorbing all the stuff that Miss Diana Wright does. And look at that coming out there. Just beautiful. In fact, if you can write down, Miss Nadine, what kind of batting you use, I would love to know. Because that's beautiful definition. I just love it. If you're going to quilt, show it off. Isn't that beautiful? Very smooth hand, very round stitching. Excellent. And I was so impressed with your background fabric. Or is this the backing fabric? Just beautiful, 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 beautiful. I love it. Way to go. Okay, now. Patricia Fry, I'm not sure if anything, no, I think I just forgot to take it out. But this is, I'll show you this joke. The only place cooking comes before quilting is in the dictionary. I love it. I love it. Okay, did this before. Cheryl. Okay. I couldn't show you this last week because it saved in an odd form. But look at this quilt she's had at a show. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? It's so neat to see her name on the tag. But I love all the stuff she's cut out. And she has appliqued. And look at the banner that she made that she appliqued. And look at the sidewalk. It's selvages. And they're done in a herringbone. I'm talking talent. Absolute talent. And look at the lettering she did, embroidered letters. Isn't she something? This is fun. So this is another art quilter for sure. Way to go. And then here's another quilt she's been working on. And it's just lovely. I absolutely love it. And you know what's interesting about it? One time when I did a mystery quilt, I said I'm going to use colors that I don't like or am terrified of and see what happens. I chose orange and pink, thinking it was going to make a horrible quilt. Oh no, it's a lovely quilt that my granddaughter enjoys to this day. So way to go. And next time, I challenge y'all, try colors you don't think you can handle or you just don't think that would work well together. Sonia, I found these, Sonia, from a while back, and I wanted to make sure I had shown them. But she does such beautiful work. Oh my gosh. And this is her dragon quilt. How neat is that? Oh, love, love, love dragons. I've gone to some of the YouTube channels that shows how to make dragon eyes out of, now I forgot how they did it. I'll have to go look again. But they are amazing. This is a quilt I saw probably from one of the Our Time to Quilt newsletters. And is this just beautiful? I wanted to show you this to kind of inspire my Thursday landscape quilters and art quilters. And down here is cheesecloth. Isn't that awesome? But if you look, what did she do to make the vine that is growing up here. Look at how she used the fabrics, the lights and the darks and the medium to give that fence post a truly round look. I mean, it's just amazing. So and like here, she used a lot of thread painting to give this part of the metal. I want to know what is the light tan, the beige fabric, because it's something different, something unusual. And I just think that's beautiful. So I brought that on today. In fact, oh, I forgot to see who the person is that did that. Oh, and you know what? Let me do something really quickly. I'm going to make you all seasick today. Okay. Hold on one second. I had a video of my sweetheart walking, my little Russell walking, but we had problems with the computer. We closed it out. Now, hold on. This way I can check to see if Bonnie sent me something. So, but my sound on my laptop is not working. It'll work when I plug some auxiliary speakers in, but not for the regular. And Mark was trying to figure it out for me. Let's see. Oh, I got it. I can show you the Russell. Now let me see. Whoa, goodness gracious. A bunch of emails popped in. I'm not seeing one from Miss Bonnie right now. Let me see. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping I got the one from Miss Bonnie that I wanted to show us, because I was like, I really want to show that, Miss Bonnie. I think it's amazing. All right. I just got a whole bunch more emails in. So let me type in my son's. Let me do a search with his name, or else it'll take me forever. I can spend hours a day just on email, but I'm used to that. I used to do Greyhound Rescue, and that's how I met Mark, because he had Greyhound out in Dallas, Texas, and he was involved with Greyhound Rescue. So, one second, people. All right. But I got used to doing emails doing Greyhound Rescue. Here's a video of my grandson. Remember, he's 11 months old, guys. He has got some hair.
Hey, baby boy, what you doing? What you got there? What you got there? Why you gotta eat everything?
Now he'll get up and walk again in just a minute.
Hi. Hi. Rush boy. What's up, cutie? Look at you. Look at you. Can you say hi? Russell, can you say hi? Oops. Russell, say hi. Russell. drums to play. Can you say hi? Hi! Hi, Russell! I love you, buddy.
Isn't he precious? I just love that walking. You know, we forget how much we had to learn when we were a baby turning into a toddler.
Hey, cutie. Hey, cutie pie.
There's so much to learn. So much to learn.
All right. Bye, Russell.
Now, he's a busy, busy boy. So I hope you enjoyed that. And now I will come back to...
School evaluations and evaluations outside of school are very different. Evaluations are done
hold on just a second.
to
Hold on just a second. I'm getting you back up there. There, I found you again. It took a little while. Okay. Okay. So, but he's doing pretty good. Oh, you're right, Vicky Robles. That is really true. And you know, it's cute. So he knows. And you know what they do too is they take and they bring out new toys every so often, and so it's all new to him. So, okay. So now, thank you for everything, and I'm going to switch over to do. I might have to turn on my overhead light. You let me know if it's too dark. But this is a wonderful book. And it just has templates and her quilts. It explains certain things and how she does them and gives a little history of quilts. She shows how to do the quilting. But what I'm going to show you today is how to do hand piecing. So, but this is called Quilt Making by Hand by Jenny Beyer. All right, let me grab all my stuff and put it here and tilt this. I love these new joints that Mark got for the camera. Thank you, Mark. I know what Diane 57 said, she didn't have her sweetheart. All right, here are some little tools that I find convenient. All right. Let me bring the light over. Good. All right. I have some fray check. Now, it's not totally necessary. Take care, Bonnie. Have a good week, sweetheart. All right. Fray check is really good if you want to, let's say you have something you really have to work on, or a place where the fabric, let's say you accidentally kind of frayed it. It is a good product. I'm going to use white thread today and black fabric so you can see my stitching. And here is a little pin. What was I talking about? The fray check is good for frays. Yes, kind of. The name says it all, doesn't it? And here is my little chalk marker, but you can use any kind of marking thing that you have. I, believe it or not, use quilting betweens to do my hand piecing. Now, you might say, oh, I made this. I went to a quilt show years ago and got an antique bobbin. And then I just hot glued the pincushion on it. Then here's a little pair of scissors, and I like these kind because I can put it on a lanyard like the one Miss Bonnie gave me right here. and put it around my neck. And these are very sharp scissors. I get them from Connecting Threads, and they're very sharp, but they're small. And if you want to have a needle threader, there it is. And then, now this is Thread Heaven, and I know you can't buy it, but there's another product, and you could just use beeswax, okay? But it really does help smooth the way. So let me get my glasses on. The first thing I'm going to do is thread a needle. Now, let me see. You're probably going to think I'm crazy by using such a small needle. Now, these are a little bit small. But the smaller, yeah, these are a little bit small. Let me go with something maybe, let me see. You have to use a small needle to get small, even stitches. And I know that's just going to sound odd to you. So here is my needle. It's just over an inch long. Let's see, how much over? It's an inch. It's not an inch and a quarter. It's an inch and 2/8, or it's 2/8 a quarter, 2/16. So anyway, let me put these back in my package. All right, I'm going to thread this needle, and if I can't see it good enough to thread it, then I'll use my needle threader. Now, if you have one of those desktop needle threaders, they work pretty good. I mean, sometimes it doesn't quite work, but all in all, they work pretty good. Okay. Oops, no. Okay, let me try using a needle threader. I hate using these kind because I break them easily. You know, the wire comes loose and it's like, oh, well, but they can be expensive. And what I do to make them last longer is I pinch the metal part. See, that way I'm not putting stress on where it is attached to the plastic. Now you notice I thread my needle with it still attached to the thread. Very, very important. Take care, Miss Nadine. Take care, sweetheart. Sleep good. And so you thread the needle. Now, some people say only cut a thread 18 to 24 inches. Mine's probably a little longer because I hate threading a new needle. All right, now I'm going to show you the way that I tie a knot. But you see how you thread the needle because this thread has a twist on it. And if you cut the piece of thread off and forget which one is the leading edge, then guess what? It'll get all tangled. Have you ever sewn with a piece of thread that keeps wanting to spin and tangle up? That's because you're trying to go against the twist. Do not go against the twist. Okay, so you put it on the needle, and the part where you tie the knot to is the last part to come off the thread. That way you're going in the right direction with the twist. All right, so I'm going to show you how I knot the needle. And I'm going to tell you too, do yourself a favor. Every time you cut your thread, immediately put a knot on it, okay? Now what I do is, you've seen me lay the thread on my finger, put the needle on top of it, and I'm pressing pretty good. See, it leaves an indentation. Well, you can't, I don't know what's showing, but anyway, pressing the needle on it pretty hard. Have the needle stick out enough that I take and wrap 1, 2, 3, 4 times at least, maybe sometimes 5, and then pull the thread down so it's snug and grab it, then push the needle through, slide that twisted area all the way down to the end, and then pull it firmly. Now, do you see my knot? All right. And I like having a big knot because to me, there's nothing worse than I like getting that thread snug in there, and I don't want that thread to pop out of the fabric. All right. Now the needle is threaded. Now I'm going to take my beeswax and I'm going, or my Thread Heaven, or whatever the new product is, and I put it on the stuff and then hold my finger on top of it. This is just silicone. It's non-toxic. It won't hurt you. All right. So now I'm going to put my needle where I know I won't lose it. Then I'm going to take one of my squares and I'm going to draw a 1/4-inch line. 1 second. One thing I forgot to get was a ruler. Well, okay, so now what I'm going to do is draw a 1/4-inch line. The reason I forget is because I've been quilting long enough that I can kind of eyeball it pretty good. So then I'm going to take and do a line on these. And you only have to put a line on one of the fabrics you're sewing because the other one will be underneath. You only need a line on the one you're going to see first. All right. So now, oops, let me put this down here. All right. Any questions? Oh, well, watch what happens when I start using the needle. Okay, so I'll put the right sides together. And I will put a fine pin down to hold them together. And that way you don't have to worry about your fingers, your movement of your hands. Now here is your tiny needle, okay? And I come in and take a bite, okay? Come in and take a bite. And I'm going to zoom in for this. Let me see. Okay. Good. Let me make sure I get it just right. Okay. So I've come in and taken a bite. See that? All right. Then I'll pull that through. And see, my knot does beautifully. I'll come in and take another bite almost right where I did last time. Here is where the thread came out. I do what's called a back stitch. So I come in and take another bite. Oops. See? So I've kind of gone back a half stitch and then I come out. Then what I do is hold the needle pretty still and I use my other hand to feed the fabric onto the needle. See how I've done? Having this short needle makes it very easy to do very fine stitches. Then I take and push this and pull it through. And if you can see, whoops, let me get it. Whoops, come on. Focus, camera. It's not wanting to focus. Let me get some of this out of the way. So come on. There, it's trying. Okay, so see, you just want nice, tiny stitches. So now I've just pulled that through and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches on that time. Now what I do to start back, I do a half a stitch back. That way I'm doing a locking back stitch every ½ inch or so. Because this way you know you've got a very sturdy. And so the needle sits still and my other hand feeds the fabric onto it. Let me back out just a little. Hold on. Okay. So now, there I am. But see what, Vicky, you're so funny. But do you see how, and what this means, okay, why would I do hand stitching? Well, I can only sit at my sewing machine so long, and then my rear end gets sore, my legs get sore, my feet swell up. I mean, it's just not comfortable. So that what I can do with these things is have a project upstairs that I'm working on by hand that I can sit in the recliner, put my feet up, and see how this hand pushes the fabric on? Okay. So now I pull this up and flatten, make sure the fabric is flat. Now what I do to tie the knot is I come in here and go around this thread, okay? So, whoops. I go under here, make a loop and go under it, and then I pull the fabric carefully up because I want to make a knot right where I finished. I don't want that coming open. So I just keep pushing this knot down so that it will make a knot right at, look, see how I'm keeping it right at the end of that stitching like there. There we go. But now that's not enough of a knot for me. So what I'm going to do now is go through twice again and gently slide this double looped knot right down to the end. Sometimes doing that double will get it a little bit tangled. All right, it made a little bit of a loop, but I'm not going to worry about that because I know it's secure and it won't show. So now I cut the thread off. All right. Now, if I'm sewing by hand, I'm not near an ironing board. So what I do is just use my fingernail and I press it with my fingernail. Okay. I'll press it with my fingernail. All right, so now I have this piece right here. I'm going to do another one real quickly because I want to show, oh, and don't forget, before you leave your needle, every time I cut, immediately as soon as I cut that thread loose, I go ahead and make another knot, holding it firmly and pulling it slowly down to make a nice knot at the end. You see the knot? And it's right at the end. So I'm going to do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Slide it down, down, down. There we go. That's a little farther from the end. If you make a knot right at the end of the fabric, it can come out if you pull hard enough. So that way it's a little bit up from that. All right, so now I'm going to take these two pieces, sew them together quickly because I want to show you how I join these together and what do I do with the two seams as they come together. So I'll put this needle down here. It's out of my way. And here I go. And this really doesn't take long. And if you think about what you can get sewn waiting at doctor's offices, go back a half stitch. In the evenings when you're too tired to be at your sewing machine, when you are traveling in the car and hubby's driving, when you're sitting and talking on the telephone, there are so many times that it's nice to have your hands busy and then you've got something to show for it. So sometimes, I'm sorry, but I get tired of being at my machine. And this is a very relaxing thing to do. Come on. Sometimes. But anyway, hopefully you're seeing that having a smaller needle allows more maneuverability. That long needle would get in the way of me getting these tiny stitches on. And it really does not take long at all. Now I'm doing it here to show you, so I'm having to hold it awkwardly, so it's taking me longer than it normally does. And I have this little stickery thing that normally I wear on my first finger that really helps me pull the needle through the thread easier. Okay, let me lock off here and then I will show you the next part. All right, put 2 knots in there. Okay. Take out my pin. And as I would do if I was sitting in my chair, I use my fingernail, drag right across the seam to get a nice smooth fold. Nice flat seam. Okay, so I'm going to want to sew these. I'm going to want to sew these and nest the seams so that I can make a 4-patch with, I'm going to make a 4-patch like this. So I'm going to fold these right sides together and nest these seams. So, you know, you can kind of feel when they want to get into perfect position. And then I'll put a pin here. And I'll put a pin on each end. Okay. Now I forgot to knot my thread again. And see, that's the thing that gets me. That's why I've tried to teach myself to knot the thread soon as I cut it loose, because you get busy, you get your blocks picked up. A lot of times I don't pin them, but I've got them locked in my fingers just right. And if I have to stop and knot the thread, then I've got to pick it up and get it all squared away again. I'll bring you in, whoops, just a little closer. All right. So what I'm going to do is show you how I do this joint. What do you do when you get here? So I come in and just to make sure I don't confuse you, I'm going to draw my line. Get it nice and square. Okay. Draw my line. That's why I love this. It's really easy. Okay. Got my knotted thread, and here I go. I make my stitch, come back and do a half locking stitch. And that is nice too, because then when you go to put this block in with others, you don't have those seam ends opening up like you do when you do it on a machine, unless you do a little locking stitch at the beginning and end. But this is very peaceful, very zen-like, very meditative. Okay, go back a half stitch. See, every time I pull up the thread and start again, I do a half stitch. So it's a very stable way of sewing. Nothing's going to come open. So many people often think that hand sewing is inferior. But remember, up until the 1800s, when they started having sewing machines, everything was made by hand. Everything. So it can be a very stable way of doing it. And you go back and do your little half stitch. I'm sure Sonia, I'm sure Akko could show you some of her amazing hand stitching. And she's probably very fast, because the more you do it, the faster you get. But see how easy it is to hold this little needle? If I had a longer one, it would be awkward to use. So this is really, really nice. And when they're smaller, usually they're thinner too. Now, whoops, I was supposed to show you this. Okay. I've gotten right up to this 1/4 inch seam allowance on the back. What I'm going to do is pull that out. See how I've pulled it out? Then I'm going to do my locking stitch, go in and sew right up, right there, right up to that seam. Not in it, but right up to it. And try to feel that needle right there at the seam. Then I can take and push this seam allowance back over, and I'm going to lift this seam allowance up, okay? Because you don't want to sew your seam allowances down. You never know when you're going to have to open those up and iron them. So I lifted this one up, and I'm going to come in right at the edge of that seam allowance. See how I did that? Okay. Then I push this back, and I keep going down this way. Now you'll see both seam allowances are totally free. And that's important if you want to swirl your seam allowances or press them open. And so you just keep going down. Do a half stitch every time you start again. You do that half stitch. Oops. Okay, I'm going to do a half stitch. I mean a back stitch, not a half stitch, but a back stitch. Okay, and now I'm almost done. Now it's taken me longer to do this because I'm having to try to hold my hands oddly so it can fit under the camera. But even with all of that, I want you to watch something here. Even with all of that, I'm trying to get a tiny little stitch right up to the end. Okay, you see that? Now, watch what I do here. I do my first little knot, making a loop, sliding it down right to the end. Make another little knot, slide it right down to the end. And when I worked at the museum, I had to do any stitching on the costumes. Anything that showed had to be done by hand. And I used to hate hand sewing, and now I love it. It is so peaceful. But look at the size. Oops, let me get it right. Look at the size of my stitches. So please understand that when your stitches are that small, look at the seam. Look, doesn't it kind of look like a sewing machine seamed? Look at how tiny. So now what I'm going to do, and see how these are open and free, but see where I didn't miss any space. I came right up to that edge, so there's no opening. Now what I'm going to do is decide which side to fold to, and then just use my fingernail and sew, and there we go. Now I have, whoops, the other way, Deb. Now I have a 4-patch. So in just that few minutes, I've got a 4-patch. And once again, here are the stitches. You can do this sitting in your recliner watching TV. That's something you can't do with a sewing machine. So, and then look at you see where everything comes together? With hand stitching, you can get really accurate seams. In fact, I tell people, if you're doing let's say you're going to do a Y seam and you're scared of it, do it by hand first. You can always come back over it with machine, but do it by hand. So anyway, that is what I wanted to show you today. And if you want to learn more things, more skills, feel free to get Jenny Byers' Quilting by Hand book, because she is the expert. This is her Windows quilt. I actually held this when I took a group some years ago in the year 2002 or 3. I took a group up to Jenny Byer's shop and I helped her display this. I was so honored just to touch it. Yeah, I've got it bad. I'm sorry. I've got it bad for her. But anyway, this quilt has like 4,100 pieces. The entire quilt was sewn by hand and quilted by hand. Amazing. So there you go. And that I just thought I'd show you. It one way or neither way is the right or the wrong. It's just what you feel like doing at that moment. I've got a log cabin quilt upstairs that I've had up there, and I just pull it out when I want something to work on. It's mindless sewing. Log cabin, pretty simple. But here are what I find are helpful. And I used white thread. Okay, there's another one. By using that tiny needle and getting such tiny stitches, I've just used white thread, and yet it does not show from the front. I used the white thread so you could see how I was stitching. But look at that. Isn't that amazing? So I know when she first talked about a tiny thread, I used to use a big old needle. When she talked about using tiny needle, I was like, you're crazy. But I did it because she told me, and I love her work. And I thought, the woman knows what she's doing, Deb. So that is what I learned in my class with Jenny Byer. And I love it. I love hand sewing now. But it's entirely up to you. Some people want to do it. Some people don't. But at least I thought if I could give you a few helpful hints, it might make the job a little easier for you. And then once you've been doing it a while, you won't even have to mark your 1/4 of an inch. You can eyeball it after a while. But I did it today just to show you if you knew nothing about hand sewing, how would you begin? Also, when it comes to thread, Jenny Byer loves Aurifil. And I don't have a Jenny Byer budget, so I use Coats and Clark's. I use the Coats and Clark's XP, and here's one. Here is one with the label Dual Duty XP. I love this thread. It's an all-purpose thread. And as I said before, almost all, in fact, let me show you. I'm going to show you my thread spools. Because I don't worry about what color is the quilt fabric that I'm making. Do you see what I have over here? I have some browns, I have some blacks, and I have very little whites. In fact, the only white, real true white I had, I just used. But I have a few colors over here, but that's for clothing. I do all my quilting with grays and with beiges and tans because those are neutrals. And grays are my favorite neutral, favorite of all. So when Joann Fabrics has a thread sale, I go and buy gray thread. And it's wonderful because it just blends in. Oh, I forgot to take off my thimble. See now, look at this. Look how good it fits. Isn't that amazing? And now, if these things if the front things bother your arthritis, then you can put, a little soft piece of Band-Aid or tab or a little batting with tape or whatever. But I find that it is the most comfortable. And, I've told you I have arthritis in my fingers, and these are very comfortable. Another thing, I've tried metal thimbles and hated them immediately. But some people love them. But metal thimbles make my finger sweat. I don't like sweaty fingertips. So with this being open in the front, it keeps my finger from getting overheated. But like I say, it fits so good you can wash dishes with it on, wash your hair with it on. And but anyway, I hope you have any questions, please. Oh, I love doll clothes. That's perfect for making little doll clothes. You've seen the dolls. People make actual dolls too. Hand sewing is the only way you can do some of those seams. Oh, your grandmother taught you. Oh, that's wonderful. So, yeah, sure. I love using my sewing machine, but there are times I want to do it by hand. When I go camping, last year I said I'm not taking any machine. I'm only going to take what I can sew by hand. And I love it. Yeah, the thimble really gives you room for long fingernails. So, but find the thimble that works for you. I'm just showing you which one works for me. But, and that way, you find, like I've always said, when people say, well, what's the right thing or what's the right way? It's the right way for you. It's what you like. I told you before, Alex Anderson quilts with her thumb, where I quilt with this finger. Most people have been taught to use this finger with a rocking stitch. She uses her thumb. She taught herself, and that's the way she likes doing it. So whatever way works for you. Usually we find one way to teach because it just makes it easier to do a uniform teaching, but make it your own way. So I love it. So anyway, are there any other questions? But Aurifil thread, Coats and Clarks, like I've always said, I'm on a budget. I can't afford to spend $9 for a spool of thread, not when I can get one on sale for less than $2. So, I'm cheap. I told you. I am cheap. But anyway, hopefully that helps a little bit. Let me check in. Oh, well, it's just, I love it. And if I can make it something easier for you and show you a way that's easier. I also love the magnetic pen holders to wear, because the worst thing is, I've lost my needle. Where is my needle? Oh, gosh. When I say that, Mark has to jump up, get a flashlight. He's down on the floor. So if I can wear a magnetic pen holder, I use it. It's unfortunately, I forgot to bring it down. It's up in my little hand sewing box upstairs. And just, you know what? If you think you might want to try hand sewing, get a little container and put your little hand sewing supplies. It's not that many. You saw them right here. So, all right. Oh, you like mine? Thank you. Who that just said? Oh, Cheryl Lemon. This is the fabric that I got with a gift certificate by one of you. And it's called Prose by Maywood Studio. And I knew I wanted to do a mandala center. And if you go back a couple weeks, you'll see I explained how I did the mandala. And then I've got to do an inner green border and an outer light with the flowers border. And then I will quilt it. But that was really interesting because I knew how I wanted the center. I knew I wanted it to be a medallion quilt, but I didn't know how to get to that point. So what I did, I didn't know what to do after I finished the mandala, which is just a circle of life pattern. But I found this quilt free, this pattern free, and I said, good, I wanted to do a medallion on point. So I just had to figure out how to make the box bigger, because my center medallion was about 6 inches bigger than the one on this pattern. But I managed it, and I think it's a pretty spring quilt, kind of striking with the black background. But I think putting the lighter border around the edge will be really nice. So, any other questions? But I love kicking back and hand sewing, but I love my machine too. Yes, boy. And let me tell you right now, the worst joint for arthritis is this joint right here. It's when it's in an active inflamed stage that oh my gosh, it hurts so bad. There was one period of time where it just hurt just to touch it, and I accidentally flumped it against a hard surface. Oh, I saw stars. But usually once it gets past the inflamed, but it's got a big old lump right here and then a big old lump right there. I went to have a ring resized, and I said, it's not that my fingers are that big, it's these knuckles are huge. It's part of life. And, I look at Jenny Byer's hands, and I think of all the quilts those hands have made. And so I love my hands, even with my arthritis and my wrinkles. I look at those hands and say, they have done a lot in this life. So, okay. Oh, yes. And you know what? Bonnie made me a needle minder. I keep it upstairs with my frame. So if I need to do any quick hand repairs on a quilt. So, yeah, get some really, really strong magnets and then you can make it. And, oh, that's sweet. Yep. And you know what? Our hands show love and care and support and sometimes anger and sometimes fear. But, you know, that part of us, our wrinkles show the life we've lived. Certain scars, like I have a scar from my gallbladder surgery, that shows I'm a survivor. So it's all good. Any other questions then? Yeah, the knuckles. Yep. Yep. And, you know, my fingers aren't quite straight anymore. They turn and twist a little bit, but that's part of me. And if I love me, then I love all of that too. So, yeah. And, you know, they'll get sore. Sometimes it feels like it's popping out of joint because evidently a little tendon or ligament will get caught up on some of that calcium buildup. And, oh, it hurts. In fact, I keep looking for a pair of gloves that are battery-powered hand warmers, because wouldn't that feel wonderful? So, yeah, I know it comes with the age and all of that. So, anyway, all of y'all are wonderful, and thank you. And anybody want to come help me finish this lion? I've got a lot of yarn to stitch down. But you know what? I can't be there with him often. But when he holds this, hopefully he knows that Nana loves him very much. So thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you, Sherry. So good to have you as part of our group. Anybody who would like to join our groups IO, just send me an email and I will get you out an invitation. And I'm pretty good. I'll hang in there. Just let me know if you haven't received it or you're waiting for it. I'll make sure you get it. Well, take good care. And ladies, let me know, any of you who are in your home and retired or either homebound because of the virus, let me know. I can do a daytime live stream. You bring your sewing, sit up or set your phone or your laptop right near your sewing machine, and I'll sew. We'll just talk. Would y'all like to do that? How about Tuesday? At what time is good for y'all? I'm Eastern time. Tuesday at 1:00. I will do a sew-in. And for some of you that are home during the day, stuck in the house, Sunday at 1 p.m., that's Eastern Standard Time. So that's New York time, Eastern Standard. So we'll just sew together because you know what? We'll party. If we can't go out and get into trouble, we'll stay here and get into trouble. We'll party. All right. Tuesday, it's a deal. And that way we're still doing our other times for people who still have to go out of their house to work. Although I was very glad to read that Susan's in a 2-person office, and I know that she'll be safe and careful. Because I love my Susan. I can't do this without my Susan. You hear that? So we're going to still do the regular Sunday and Thursday, but I'm adding a 1:00 Eastern time Tuesday for people who are home during the day and might be feeling a little lonely. You know, my grandkids can't come visit me right now. It's kind of tricky. So if you're at home, yeah, is it okay, Diane, if it's 12 your time, sweetheart? And if you want me to make it a different time, I will. But I know Susan won't be here with us. In fact, Diane, can you moderate if Susan can't be here? Oh, you'll be in the dentist. Oh, no. Oh no, maybe you'll be home because you know what? I'll stay on here for a couple hours. I'll just sit and do my sewing and we'll just chat. Okay? We'll call this our COVID party, our Tuesday COVID party. That's what we'll do. All right. Take good care, all of you. You know what? You make my Sundays. I have such fun. My life is so much happier and healthier since you came in it. So we're going to stay together and we're going to support each other during this crazy time. Okay? So bring a good snack and something good to drink. Set it up at your sewing machine or get some hand sewing or crocheting or knitting. I don't care what you do as long as you're having fun. And I'll see you Tuesday. Okay? It'll be our coronavirus party sew in. We'll do that. All right. Take care. Oh, it's okay, sweetheart. Don't worry, Susan. I bet you Diane could do the moderating. And this is for people who can't get out of the house and might feel a little lonely or things are too quiet. So we'll have a party. All right. Take good care. Oh, you can moderate. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Thank you. You mean so much to me. Mwah. Take good care. Eat healthy. Go to bed an hour earlier and do something fun every day. You have to. But we're going to turn this into a fun event that we're going to get through together. You know, it's always easier when you do it with a friend. And you are my friends. So thank you, everyone. Take good care. I love y'all to bits. Bye-bye, guys. Y'all are the best. The best. All right. See you Tuesday. Take care. Susan, I'll see you as soon as possible. And maybe I'll drop you an email. Oh, my God. Hey, we can even talk on the phone. Did I say that? Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye, all of you. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.